Okay, we're live. Hello. Okay, hello everybody. Lovely guests, please say hello.
Hello.
Lovely
Not
guests.
even your
Hello?
name? My dude.
Oh, I was just saying hi.
Huh?
Well,
I don't know. I decided to go with super minimalist. Hello.
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 hello, I'm Naoto.
Yay! Sorry, that was a super vague amount of hello. Hello. We are all here today. Yes, thank you. Name. You all know it. Everybody. Oh, anybody. Oh, I just made my microphone freak out. Anybody watching this knows everybody here. You're barely even guests. We have our resident in-house artist and detective prince here for a very special episode of my Metroidvania Musings series, which is actually like absurdly special, which is we all spent a week solving Animal Well together. I, a few times since getting obsessed with this game, have said, like, you know, everybody that I saw videos from was like, if you have a couple friends and you sit down and solve this without any outside help, you will have one of the most amazing times of your life. And I was thinking of like people solving Metroid 1 together, Zelda 1 together, like nothing but you and a whole world of puzzles to open. And a few times I was like, I don't want to guilt anybody, but if anybody play Animal Well with me, we could have a once in a lifetime experience. And on the third time, both of these two heard the call and got obsessed with the game and binged it at the exact same time, and we just went insane for about 76 hours together. So hello everybody.
'Twas well worth it.
Yeah, right?
Pretty insane. Pretty insane.
All
I'm not
right.
even done yet. I mean,
No, none of us are. So,
I come back from the deepest jungles to discuss my journey, and
yes.
along the way I picked up the stragglers.
So I played this game for 3 months, and I noodled with the kind of deeper, like I got credits and I noodled with the deeper puzzles. But I didn't like go super deep. I knew there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. A few things got spoiled vaguely by seeing stuff online, but I didn't really know that much. And I made a pact with my friends, like if anybody wants to come try to solve this game with me and not look at any outside resources, I think we could have a ton of fun, like just relying on each other and swapping hints. And that is literally exactly what happened here. So if you're watching, we're just doing an introduction now. There's going to be timestamps for every segment. We're about to start a no spoiler section after we get the idea of, Animal Well out there. Then afterwards, we're going to have two more sections where we're going to spoil everything we know. We don't know everything about the game. Naoto knows a lot more than the rest of us because they proved themselves as our detective prince. I was like, can you solve these puzzles? And you did, incredibly strongly so. But yeah, we're gonna say everything that we know. We don't know everything, but please don't give us hints or anything in the comment. Oh, hints are fine if you're cute about it, but like don't spoil things if we don't know it. We're still working through this. So to be fair, by the time the video gets published, maybe we'll already have had our fun. This could be 3 weeks from now. I don't know. So yeah, introduction. Just quick first thoughts. How you guys are enjoying the game and what you think about our collaboration last week where we were just talking about it all the time.
The
oh my
collaboration was
goodness.
magical. It was wonderful. I also stayed up way too late multiple nights because I got too into it, and you over there in different time zone land were like able to punctually respond to my days to 2 a.m. musings as I piece
Yeah.
together things.
Oh, that's true. You're the latest out of the three of us, I think. So you were like up super late at night, and we're like, oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
like it is 3 in the morning. It's a puzzle.
yeah, I mean, obviously it's not done, but this has been an absolutely incredible experience. I haven't really I haven't had this experience with a game really before. It
Right.
actually takes me back to, because exactly what you're saying with like Metroid 1, Zelda 1, like that doesn't really happen very often these days, like at all, ever.
Yeah.
The closest I can put it in my childhood history is we had pretty similar experiences with like Gen 4 Pokemon.
That's a
like
good
that
one.
would kind of get passed around, like, oh, the Pokemon rumors. But the thing with the Pokemon rumors is that like 90% of them were lies.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to this, which is like completely legit. Like, I don't know. It's been really fun. It's been incredible.
Funny you say Gen 4 because as a kid, I had an unofficial Pokemon guide that would bring me information from like data mines and stuff that everybody knew online. But even though I had a website, I didn't always use it. So I learned about Darkrai, Shaman, and Arceus from magazines. I've probably told this story before. When I was most obsessed with Pokemon, I heard about them in magazines when Gen 4 was coming out. And I was like, holy crap. And they told me about the locations for everything. So that fueled my mind. So it's like Animal Well in a way is getting at something I think I also haven't fully experienced since then. Just because nobody really did know what was going on, or at least with Hollow Knight, I never wanted to like necessarily solve it on my own. I also binged it so hard that I don't know, like things flowed really well. Things weren't so cryptic, but no, back in the day, like it felt like I solved an incredible mystery, and frankly, I did when I used a action replay thing to get Shaman and then put it on my friend's Battle Revolution, and we found out Battle Revolution had animations for Shaman that were mad cute even before Shaman was like revealed to the public.
Yes, I was actually going to say action replay was my I think that's been a funny thing with these sorts of game experiences, is that a lot of these have to do with exploring a map or finding secrets in the map. I didn't have that like magazine experience. I'm sure I knew about Darkrai. They probably did TV promos before I got this far, but I remember messing around with an action replay. I turned on the
oh my god,
water, and I literally just ran around the world like it was all frozen. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just messing around, and I ran. I got to the island.
Oh, that is insane!
It's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in a video game.
That's so scary!
It was so scary. I was like, what is this thing?
It could have been...
So I encountered it and I ran. I fled from the encounter.
It could have been Shaman, but you got Darkrai.
I got Darkrai on New Moon Island. Yeah.
I would throw up.
But yeah, that's it was terrifying.
If you were like a nerd who read all the lore books and knew about like the hints about Darkrai in Canalave City and then found it on your own, I think that would have been the #1 gaming experience of your life.
Oh my god, to have the nightmare creature. Yeah. No, because that's what it was. That was how it felt. I was like, what is this?
That would have been the most iconic horror experience of my childhood if that had happened.
So it's funny that we're already talking about like paralegal game modification and the quest of just talking about a totally normal game that within its own bounds can give you such a mind-fucky experience. If you could both summarize your week with Animal Well in one sentence, what would it be? I know what mine is.
Oh, that's hard. That's a really hard question,
So here's mine, actually. Maybe I'll give you an example. Mine is something that people would constantly come into the chat and say. Well, I was basically being air traffic control. I was doing nothing at my desk, and I was just reading their messages as they were exploring and giving my hints from my knowledge. And everybody kept coming in saying this, and I said it before, not long before. It's, holy shit, you guys, this changes everything.
This changes everything.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think... So, recently, I've come to compare myself to Kirby quite frequently.
Nice.
Like, when I obtain food, I kind of try to eat as much as possible, which perhaps says something about my relationship with food and food security. But we don't need to talk about that. I suck stuff up like a vacuum, and I will ensure that the leftovers are eaten. And this game, I was like, I am Kirby, and this is my cake. I will consume all of it.
Oh my gosh, this is my cake.
Oh my goodness.
There was a kind of almost like continuous drive to keep digging deeper and deeper. And as soon as I found a puzzle that I couldn't solve yet, it stuck with me for the rest of the time until I could. And right now, as I have the game up, I am sitting in a room with a puzzle that I don't know the answer to. And it's slowly driving me mad.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, you really did consume the whole thing at once. And you were, I said over and over again, like, you were having the, like, wow, this changes everything moments come, like, every 4 hours. And I consumed these, like, maybe, like, weeks at a time. Like, I had 1 week where I played the whole pregame, and then maybe at the end I found something crazy. But then it took coming back later to find something that made me like, oh, this changes everything. And then talking to you, I was like, oh, this changes everything. You had that happen so many times in your first day alone that I'm like, how are you even processing this?
That's true. Yeah, I guess.
You?
Oh man, for myself, I would say, I don't know. It's been so rich and dense, and it's really funny. I don't. The puzzles have been incredible. Obviously, the exploration has been incredible. The thing that has really floored me through the whole thing is actually the lighting.
Ooh, that's so valid.
That's kind of where I'm. I don't know. That's for some reason that's where my mind is.
That's sweet. I like that a lot. Okay, so that's a really, really, really good intro. So now we're going to start the no spoiler section where I have a few questions for you guys. Maybe you have some things you want to talk about, and we're going to try not to spoil anything. So no specifics about puzzles, no specifics about items, try not to spoil any particular animals, or even themings for areas. We're going to try to make this something somebody could listen to as like a, like, you know, if they're on the fence about even playing Animal well, this might be something they could enjoy.
Wow.
It's tricky, right? We're going to be let loose pretty soon, but I want to do at least something. So let's talk about the atmosphere. It's going to be tough without specifics, but like, what do you guys think about the atmosphere? Like, you mentioned the lighting is amazing. I'm with you there. Like, I think this is one of my top tier, maybe my number one visual style. Like, this is incredibly breathtakingly beautiful to me. I could look at it for hours.
I'm with you there. I think it's incredibly beautiful, and it's always fun. You mentioned, I think this might have been off recording, you mentioned Celeste.
Yeah.
As without the scan lines, it almost looks like Celeste, and the scan lines definitely do something crazy for it for some reason to me. Like, it gives it a very unique flavor.
Yeah.
But visually, the richness of Celeste as a pixel game, like, I mean, the backgrounds and environments in Animal Well are so detailed and interactive. Like, I love how even walking back and forth, the grass pixels sway when you walk through them. Like, it's just it's beautiful.
Yeah, go ahead now.
Really, it's really engaging, I suppose. Like, the color really is important to making the world feel beautiful and mysterious, because as much as the colors like make different parts pop, they also hide a bunch of little details in the background.
Yes.
And little secrets in the backgrounds.
Yep.
And it's just the fact that every area kind of has its own color scheme.
Yes.
Like, it's not strict, but it's a little different in each area, and it really helps them all stand out from each other and makes them a lot more memorable.
Yes, I think, again, I find that we did a 30-day video game ranking challenge. There were 30 days of video game soundtrack music, and I had to stop and think, like, you know, there are random prompts, some of them kind of mundane, like favorite title screen, favorite credit screen, and I was blown away by how many masterpiece games were in the conversation for so many things. Like, you know, we never considered that Ocarina of Time has a really good credit sequence, right? Like, when you think about why it's a masterpiece, you don't jump for like, oh, they nailed the title screen. But a game that's really good often gets so many little things right. And I think one of the biggest little things about this game is all of the little things you could lump under visuals, because Nathan, Muse Trigger, had never really played a Metroidvania, and they were like, this is going to be annoying, I don't want to have to remember things, but playing Symphony of the Night, it's hard not to remember things. Like, a good Metroidvania has to make you want to remember things, and how could you not want to remember things when they're this beautiful? Like, I keep expecting myself to get tired of this game, and I keep not getting tired of this game because I think the variety and the visuals are a huge part of it. And then let's talk about the fact that there's no music.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
I was surprised at first, and I cannot fathom this game with a soundtrack.
Yes!
Now. Like, so many audio cues are, like, it's too important to have audio cues that you can hear.
Mm-hmm.
Or both sort of puzzles, but also immersion and sometimes navigation. Like, I suppose I'm gonna name drop an animal that you see very early. He is my favorite, the duck.
Yes, okay.
Like, if I had music drowning out my dear duck quacking, it wouldn't be the same.
That's so valid.
That's real. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
This, I guess, it's not a spoiler, but, like, you know, they do change the audio for a boss encounter.
Oh, yeah.
It's hilarious how subtle it is. It's just absolutely ridiculous. No, we were doing 30 days of game music, and I'm like, game music's so essential. Speaking of which, this game somehow has kept me this interested with no music.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, I would prefer it almost to an ambient soundtrack sometimes. Like, there's some games like Metroid Dread where I'm like, this soundtrack's doing nothing. And it turns like, well, maybe it'd be better if it was doing nothing. I don't know. Like, literally wasn't even there. So here is my big question for the non-spoiler section. If you could pick one favorite color in this game, mine is the blues, the deep blues, and maybe the purple too, but especially the deep blues of the early area especially. I think the blues really give this game its identity to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna second the blues. The very particular, there's a very particular green. A very particular green. The glowy sort of color. That's definitely, I'm actually in a room that has a lot of it completely by accident. I just wandered here. And it doesn't, the green, I wasn't thinking there would be a lot of that where I am specifically because of the color that I was expecting to be here. And so it's like a nice surprise, and it just, I don't know, it's one of my favorites for sure.
That's so valid. I'm looking at some greens too in this room.
It's so funny
Indigo.
trying to describe it without spoiling anything.
Yeah, I know. We gotta free ourselves soon. You said Indigo. I think this game made me an Indigo fan. I think this game made me an Indigo fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the record, I've been a fan of Indigo the whole time, so... When those kids went in math class, you had to make graphs, and the kids went around asking everyone's favorite color. I said indigo, and then they said pick something different that I don't want that on my chart. And I was like, well, too bad, it's the truth. And they were like, I'll just put you as blue.
No.
Those graphs were inaccurate. They were made of lies.
I wish I had the guts to have said indigo to begin with, because it's where the blues and the purples meet. It's the richness and the deepness. I'll put it on screen now, but the Toho Perfect Cherry Blossom album art was like... An album art. It's because it's a CD. The game cover art blows my ass, and it has like really vivid like magenta fuchsia on one side and a deep blue on the other. And I was just like lost in the sauce looking at that piece of art for a couple days when Animal Well came out. And then I think that's what primed me to just be destroyed by the indigos. And again, there's so many things that I could be like, this is the crux of the game. This is one of the best things in gaming to me. It's the freaking indigos. It's, oh my god, like I'm in the room that I'm in right now just because of the indigos. It's, again, like I think the first area can set a lot of the tone, and I think this first area is just breathtaking, and it's largely due to the indigo. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna free us really soon from the shackles of no spoilers, but let's go with okay, my first question. I mentioned this before. What are your two thoughts comparing the really difficult puzzles of this game to the Colosseum of Hollow Knight? Because I think some people wouldn't play Hollow Knight because there's such hard fights in the game. You know, you can get
Oh my
somewhere,
goodness.
and even outside of the stuff you need to progress, like a Hornet or whatever. I got myself trying not to spoil Hollow Knight now. Even outside of the normal fights, you have like, you know, dream fights that are super hard. Then you have Colosseums and stuff like that. And I would say that nobody should
Yeah.
ever not play Hollow Knight just because of the really, really hard Colosseum fights. What do you think of people that are afraid to play Animal Well because of the really fucky puzzles? I think some people are afraid to play this game because of the hard puzzles, but my thought is that that's not a great reason to not play the game, citing why would you not play Hollow Knight just because you don't want to do the optional fights, right? What do you two think of that? Would the really hard puzzles of this game ruin the game for somebody?
No. No. Never. I think, well, so I also, I don't know if Naoto's gonna be happy with this. I am, generally speaking, a kind of impatient person, and I have definitely, in my time, I've looked up answers for Professor Layton puzzles. I'm not ashamed. I've Googled
You
answers.
think that would make me mad? Dude, I drove myself
I can see
insane
why.
trying to find those answers because I didn't have internet as a child. Please free yourself from this hell.
I'm free from my shackles. I do think that the satisfaction of solving these things by yourself or with friends or via hints is so valuable that I wouldn't want someone looking them up, just because I think that the feeling, it's different to me than the satisfaction of like just solving a puzzle normally, of like, oh, I got the answer right, I'm so smart. It's much more like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I feel like you get too much information when you look these things up, because it reveals too much context sometimes. I think that the context created by things like, oh, you know, oh, I solved this puzzle and that means this, this, and this now, and that's crazy. Like, I think that's really amazing. But also, like, there's no shame in finding the answer if you really can't do it. Like, that should never stop someone from playing the game. That sounds so sad. I don't know.
Definitely. And do you think that hitting difficult puzzles is enough of like a blocker to like the main, like say for example the average player just wants to play this to get credits, like even a little bit less than you've done, Liz, because Liz has played just the least of us by a little bit, you know, to do what you've done and be satisfied. Do you think that the difficult puzzles are going to be that much of an obtrusion?
That is so funny to me because, again, I think sticking to no spoilers, but obviously there was that one sequence very early on that both me and Juno did not have a fun time with. And that
Yeah.
is so, like, that's not at all, it didn't discourage me at all from wanting to play. I still wanted to play. And, I don't know, like, it wasn't a puzzle. So
Yeah.
but also, I mean, I guess I would say that I'm not really a puzzle genius, so, like, I haven't run into any issues, but also I can see where people would.
Yeah.
Like, it's mysterious and it's confusing, for sure. Like, I definitely haven't solved everything, and I didn't solve everything immediately. But, I don't know, I don't think... It's interesting that you compare it to, like, the Colosseum, because I'll also say, obviously, I played Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was my first Metroidvania. I didn't know the genre. I didn't know anything about it. I picked it up completely by accident. And I have played a lot and for a long time, and I've never beaten the last Colosseum level. There's the 3 trials. And I've gotten to the final boss quite a few times. And I've never finished it, but like that's such a thrilling challenge, and the reward there to me would be finally being able to pull it off. So that's, I don't know.
Dang, you're made of tougher stuff than me. I had to implement my anti-rage protocols to take on the Trial of the Fool.
Did you beat it?
Yes.
Oh, see, that's impressive to me. I haven't done that yet. Yeah,
I've also
because
consumed
I still want to.
I have consumed a obscene amount of Hollow Knight speedruns, so I've watched other people like do it with the highest level of efficiency, so I've like picked up skills by osmosis. It's obscene. Nobody should be like me. I am
so
broken.
funny.
I am a broken person.
No.
Oh my god.
So then, Naoto, what do you think?
Like-
Maybe I'm not phrasing my idea very well, but you definitely
No,
gave me
no,
good ideas,
I have
Liz, so
much to
thank
say.
you.
So when it comes to the puzzles here, I have not succeeded at these puzzles because I am a broken person. Haha.
What?
I really like comparing it to Professor Layton puzzles, actually. Because in a Professor Layton puzzle, oftentimes they're like little logic puzzles, sometimes they're little tricks, sometimes they're fiddle with a board until stuff works, like the Knight's Tour puzzles from Diabolical Box. I say primarily for our viewers who may have played it. And like, sometimes you just don't have the outside information to know what to do, to know how to solve the puzzle. Like, if you haven't had enough math class because you're in the second grade,
Yeah, that's right.
Oh
you
my
just can't solve
God.
some of those puzzles. You're like, how do I do multiplication? What does this X mean?
Yeah.
But with Animal Well, I never felt like a puzzle was like impossible or too hard that I'd run up against like a brick wall.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I had all of the tools. And if I didn't have the tools for it yet, then I needed to go look for the tools somewhere else in the game and then come back.
And that's going to be our
That's a really
next
good
segment,
point.
and that's one of the strengths of
That's
the game,
fantastic.
I think.
Yeah,
you played
like,
it. You played it through so far, you know. Oh my gosh! I guess here I'll ask you both one more time, sort of like rephrasing it a bit. I love both of your answers. How much do you think that the scary puzzles in this game, something that can make somebody need to look up a guide, are side content? How much of them do you think you could look at that and be like, I don't like that, and then not do it? Because there are certain things I have in mind that are just optional, but I could see them pissing somebody off.
That's also interesting. I'm gonna say a lot of it, actually. I think that there's a very clear set of goals presented by the game. And if you do those things, you have what you need to get to the quote-unquote end, which obviously I haven't gotten there. But I don't know. That's really funny to me. I don't think that... to me... I guess if we're talking like theoretically or not theoretically, but like theory of the design of the game, it's all, none of it is like side content because I think it is the point of the game in a lot of ways. I like, does that make sense? Where I think that someone could easily play this entire game and never do a lot of those things and have a fantastic time, and I wouldn't shame them for it, but a lot of those optional things feel to me like they're actually the point of the game.
That, I hear you. Thank you for
agree.
phrasing it. That's helping me understand this better.
yeah.
I think I could see somebody because I think the way that things are presented, you know, because I've been comparing Colosseum, you know, stuff that would break my balls in the Colosseum to puzzles that would break people's balls in this. Colosseum, I think, is very obviously side content, you know? Like, I've replayed the game a few times. Colosseum and Dream Fights, they're so tough, but because they are set apart by the Colosseum, the Pantheon, and the Dreams, they don't feel like they're a part of it. Whereas this world does feel interconnected, and the one thing is like, you know, there's this one sequence I'm thinking of right now that, you know, it's in your way. You walk by it all the time. How could you not want to solve that, right? It's as hard as a Dream Nail fight, you know, like Phantom Brain Master or whatever up in the Doctor Tower, you know.
I mean, Soul Tyrant.
It's just as hard. It's Soul Tyrant. It's just as hard as Soul Tyrant, but it's not out of the way. So I could see somebody wanting to solve it much more than they want to solve Soul Tyrant because it's a part of this one big world that all comes together. What do you think, Naoto?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Like, the hard puzzles are not necessarily like required to get through. I suppose we could call it the base game.
Yeah.
Before post game.
Yeah.
But they will drive you insane as you walk by.
Yeah, that's real, isn't it?
Yep.
Like me with the eggs. As I accumulated the eggs, I slowly realized, oh no, oh boy, I'm getting up there.
Yeah.
What if I missed an egg?
Yeah.
I'm going to tear down walls if I missed an egg.
Yeah. I could see this. Again, I'm obsessed with comparing this to Hollow Knight. I love comparing them in my head. I've been doing it for like 3 months now, if not a little bit longer. I can't do math. I love comparing them, and I think about people who fall off Hollow Knight versus people who fall off Animal Well, because I have had friends just straight up bounce off of Animal Well, and it's been from everything from not liking how the jump physics work to being stumped by early puzzles, to actually, I gave it to one of my friends who loves Hollow Knight, and she was a little bit tipsy, and she did not have fun just because of the way that the camera scrolls, the way that it hard snaps, and she couldn't figure out where she was in the early area, because instead of the camera following you, you just move to another screen of the map, almost like Link's Awakening GBA. So, you enter the top, you enter an exit on the bottom right of one room. Now you're in a new screen and you're on the top right of that room. She couldn't follow that. She was tipsy, but she couldn't follow that.
Wait, I love that, actually.
Right? It actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I think they teach you that pretty well, but even though she was going through the thing where they teach you how screen transitions are going to work in the beginning, it threw her off. And I'm like, you know what? I get that. I understand why that threw you off. I think this game isn't necessarily made to be as approachable. I think it'd be a lot more popular even now if it was a bit more approachable, because we were talking about stuff that drives you nuts. I think one of the biggest things, because we have the non-spoiler section for people on the fence here, is we all can think of the stuff that was ridiculously frame tight and not optional, right? I think of a few of them. A few of the things for the flames were like, you have to do something very annoying just for the thing. I think that isn't quite as elegant as Hollow Knight, and I could see this game maybe getting a reputation as being love it or hate it for some people. I could genuinely, and it's unfortunate because I think the design is so good, but there are some segments that it's like, that is going to piss you off and that's not optional.
I do think, though, that most of those, like, extremely hard or, like, pixel-typed moments, if they're required, they have a save spot very close, or a very easy way to get back to them.
Good catch.
Like,
yes.
There was one that I'm thinking of that took me like 12 tries, but there was a save spot like right next to it. And I was like, yeah, I can just grind this. I implemented my anti-rage protocols early, which I do just for preemptive. I was not in rage mode, for the record. Mm-hmm. This game did not induce rage in me.
Wow.
But I was like, yeah, I can just grind this. Turned on some nice music and just like pumped through it, and I got there.
That's a good anti-rage protocol. Funny.
Yep. Straight up. I realized young that sometimes the music would get to me in a really hard section, especially if it was like, oh, you're in the creepy area, so it's the creepy music.
Yeah, and Hollow Knight.
Oh, I see.
No.
I understand.
That's actually really, really understandable. Speaking of which, I recently did Nosk with all the lights off in my apartment, and that was like an amazing experience, but also I was so nervous.
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to feel something, At this point, I'm getting kind of numb to Hollow Knight. I've just experienced it so much.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is really, really fun. Let's take a quick pause before we start the spoiler section, because that's going to be like, oh boy, the gloves are off. Like, let's come at that with our A game. All right, we are back with one more... Oh, my God, I clapped and my microphone freaked out. We are back with one more thing that is not spoilery that we really wanted to do for the non-spoiler people, which is hot debate. What the heck is the protagonist creature?
I can't believe this is even a debate. They're clearly it's a seed.
Okay, interesting. There's evidence, but have you considered this isn't plant well, this is animal well?
Yeah, that's why it's a seed.
It's semen?
No, a seed. Remember the parable of the mustard seed.
I do not remember the parable of the mustard. Oh!
Even as something as small as the mustard seed can become big or something. I'm Jesus. prey.
So are you saying that we are a piece of fecal dropping that came out of an animal?
No!
We're going to become one.
No, we emerged from a plant bone.
Yeah.
How is this questionable?
Well,
I can't.
Well. Plants.
I'm sorry, your theory is meatball?
Wait. We eat. Okay, no. It looks like a meatball. We eat fruit. We have a mouth.
Yes, we do.
We eat fruit.
I mean, do we eat with our mouth, or do we simply take in the sweet nectar of our elder siblings?
Is that what seeds do?
In animal world, sure.
All right. So
okay.
We have one theory for a plant seed that consumes other smaller. But why would we be so much bigger? Sorry, I won't insult your. But so a large seed with eyes.
There's no sunlight here, right? How else are we supposed to photosynthesize? We must take what we can from those who came before us.
Okay, so
we must soak up the sweet sun juice.
We are a giant giant seed eating tiny fruits. Okay. Okay.
I'm not so sure about that one. I don't know about that one.
What is yours?
To me, he's little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting shape in terms of like he's round, but he has that slight point at the very top of his head. Honestly, logically, as far as like animals go, well, so let's see. He's got his little feet.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his little feet.
Yes.
He walks. He's got his two eyes. We don't see a mouth, but we can assume that it's there because he eats fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think hamster is funny conceptually. I like the idea of hamster, but also it's interesting to me because it's just a shape with feet and eyes.
Yeah.
Like in
I've been converted. No, I'm sorry, you're right. Hamster.
Hamster's good. Hamster's one of the leading theories. I enjoy your seed theory. It's well documented, but it does feel a little bit crazy in context.
There is a certain thing that encourages the hamster reading, and everything makes more sense now that you have said hamster. I am converted.
What? Oh my goodness. Gosh. I don't even know what you're referring to. I don't think we can talk about it because it's spoilers, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I actually realized that we are pushing the limit on those spoilers because I'm thinking of other animals that are similar to hamsters that we see, and also just the lack of stylized animals, because we would be probably the most stylized animal if we're a stylized hamster. Like, we're not at all realistically proportioned.
It's true.
It's actually really crazy, isn't it? I've been saying hamster, but it's a very loose. I'm gonna say it's a very niche animal because we have now found. This will be talked about pretty soon in spoilers. We have found animals that confused us with their physiology until later realizing that they are a very specific animal that we didn't realize was shaped the way that it is. So we haven't met anything that is as stylized as this thing.
I realized it was shaped like that. I just wasn't thinking of the animal at the time.
Okay. But still, we haven't seen almost anything that is actually like this ambiguous. So I think it's a niche animal that's just like an Angora rabbit. Right? An Angora rabbit is pretty much just a fluff ball. And I still think they're taking some liberties to not give it ears. But if this thing was an Angora rabbit, I guess maybe that's what I'm going to guess. If this thing was an Angora rabbit, it wouldn't be the craziest thing ever. It wouldn't be.
This is true.
Maybe it's a tribble from Star Trek.
That sounds so cute, dude. It's actually I haven't heard anybody say Angora rabbit, but I would not be at all surprised if that's what it is, because I don't think it's stylized enough to be a hamster, right? I mean, even like the mole cars, like the little mole cars, or like the gerbils, like even they have more of a rodent shape than we have.
Yes, I agree.
I guess I'm an Angora rabbit to myself now.
Understandable,
I like
honestly.
All right. So now we're gonna get into the spoiler section. So no, run away. Hi, no. It's an experience. It's a magical trip. You can't know anything going into it. Just believe in the flow. That's how people talk about this game.
That's so funny.
I kind of present it. So now, hard cut. Now it's spoiler time. Yay. I kind of present it because there's a Reddit I should have said this in the no spoilers. There's a Reddit AMA where he says that the animal is not an ambiguous creature. Like, a spoiler, it's not ambiguous. Like, it actually is a specific thing, but nobody knows what it is.
What?
That's why I think it's an Agora wrap. It's not like a meatball or like a blade creature.
That's crazy.
He knows. There's actually not a lot. This game kind of gives you that like weird core, like LMAO, it's just silly animals vibe, but it actually all has lore. And he's talked about how he doesn't have plans for a sequel, but he might do a game in the same universe because there is a story here, which blows my ass. Like, what do you mean there's a story
here?
here?
Of course there's a story here.
I guess we're talking about the story now.
It was spoiler knowledge that I can't talk about.
Wait, really? Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. I was gonna say the only malicious creature here that isn't just like being an animal that eats smaller animals is whatever put the cats in the cages. That's what I think. I mean, for some reason we have, and I noticed this recently, we have the dog stairs, no, not stairs, but we have the moving blocks that the dogs move that are actually labeled dog, and the ones that the mice move, which are labeled mice, down in the bird area. I realized that I think the reason they're able to have those be so crazy is, if I'm not mistaken, I think for the entire map they function. I was pretty confused how this worked at first, but I think if you turn the mice down in the bird area, every single one of those moves, and then if you turn the dog in either the main area, I don't know if Liz has found this dog, but if you turn a dog to turn the dog stairs, it might be like global, like all of the blocks on the map move, which maybe hints at what item 12 is, because Naoto said that they move the blocks in the bird area. Maybe there's some bird we have to whip.
I believe it's global.
I don't think
you don't think it's global?
Actually,
it is not global.
Oh yeah, because then you could turn. Oh, that's right. They're not global, are they? They're regional.
There's the one elevator that's really, really hard to. And I had tried going back someplace. I could be misremembering, but there's one dog elevator that is very much one way, and if you try to go, there's a way to flip it, I think, but if I'm remembering correctly, there is a way to flip it, but if you like backtrack to the area with the one that you can switch and then go back to the one-way elevator, it's still one way.
That makes sense. They'd be divided. Yeah. Honest to God, you guys, again, now we're getting into true animal well brain. Honest to God, you guys, the fact that dog only controls like one elevator, whereas the mice control a couple rooms, honestly makes me feel like there's an undiscovered room that involves more of that dog's blocks, because it just feels like nothing is used that little in this game. Like, at this point, it's less about reading the map and more just really reading the philosophy of the game, and it's just absolutely nothing has only one job. Like, I went back to this expendable, because I talk a lot with Metroidvanias about, I feel like having an expendable area where there's no purpose memorizing what's there is very un-Metroidvania. Ori has chase sequences through parts of the map that you never go back to. You just run and practice your jumping skills. I think that's very un-Metroidvania, because there should never be anything to backtrack to in one of those areas, because you would never want to backtrack. Like, okay, let me crawl back up into the tip of the volcano, go down these empty hallways that I ran through during a chase sequence, and open up this random thing. No, like, I would, like, shoot the developer if they made me do that. Like, it is obviously not a place that you're meant to memorize. But then the bird area, which I thought was maybe something expendable, like, yeah, whatever, it's just a hallway with the birds. No, there's cats there. There's some weird item block in the back. There's probably an egg behind the moving blocks. Like, as soon as I went back there's so much. Like, absolutely nothing is expendable. Everything has deeper purpose.
Yep. Agree. Confirm.
Yeah, can confirm. So I want to talk, now that we're in the progression segment, we're going to try to save the deeper puzzles and mysteries for later, because we can talk about those forever. The flow and not getting stumped. You two played this game and beat it pretty much as fast as you could. There was nothing that made you, like, put it down. There was nothing that made you go, like, nah, where's the thing? Like, you guys almost never came up for air because I was watching you and you would just play for hours. Like, Liz, like, you played on the plane and you did all the first stuff up to the flute, and then you came back and like you just pop up now and again, like, I got the flame, I did the thing, what the fuck is this? Like, you guys, like, you never came up like, I'm stumped. And I'm just like, what do you guys think about how this game flowed compared to your other Metroidvanias? Like, was it as smooth as I think it is? Because I think that despite being very open, this game is so easy to like explore and navigate once you get into the groove. Like, you can play it so quickly. Like, I did it and I almost never got stumped. Like, I know people get stumped, but like, there are ways to play this game and almost never lose the trail.
Yep.
Like, I think the way that I kept myself from getting stumped for a long duration of time was that there's just so many puzzles everywhere that if I was stuck on something, I would just go try other things.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was that the first thing I got stuck on required an item I didn't have yet, so then I went and found other items that would help me. Or even just like getting the satisfaction of like, oh, I found an egg. And then going back to take another crack at the puzzle that stumped me really helped.
That's just so good. Yeah, that's how I felt too. Like, I always had a pulse on all 4 regions and what was going on in those regions. So I always, during the middle parts, would have a place to bounce back to. If I know people have said they got stumped. I'm not going to call people like dumb for getting stumped, but I do think that if you are decently well versed in how to read the puzzle language, like, this is not designed to stump you. I think it's very, very, it's very, very engaging. Yeah, I just, like, how many times did you guys genuinely, like, for what percentage of your quest to get the 4 flames were you constantly moving? Like,
Oh God. I didn't spend very long in one room. I really didn't.
That's amazing.
Yeah, honestly, like, I kept moving.
Yeah. That's what blew
and
my
like
mind.
I said, if I came up against a roadblock, I'd go somewhere else.
That's I love that, and especially realizing there are so many ways to begin and then get into the mid game once you have like 1 or 2 of the flame items. The fact you can play so much of this game with just 1 or 2 of the flame items, and then you're just bound to get another flame item, and at that point the whole damn map is almost open to you. It's just like, there are so many ways to play this game, but it never feels like loosey-goosey watery. Like, you're always solving stuff. It's crunchy. There's always interesting puzzles to solve. You're always breaking into a new area for a reason. It's just pure, crunchy stuff. It's a constant progress feeling. Very tasty stuff. That is my main nutrient, more than protein, more than anything. So transitioning from that, my kind of phrasing about this game, both in the pre-game and the post-game, and I'm actually going to start using the phrase deep well, because Liz revealed that you don't actually have to get credits to do quite a lot of stuff. For example, one of you got the 32 egg item before beating the game, and then Liz, you grabbed the lantern and then left before you got credits. And it's interesting, like, I don't think the lantern is quite as impactful as I thought it was, but it does get some things going. Like, it definitely changes. I'm kind of forgetting now, but, you know, it felt at first like it was kind of the block between early and post game, but, you know, it feels like you can get into deeper well stuff, where I would classify deep well, and this I guess this gets into, the puzzles, but like deep well stuff is like the cats, you know, weird stuff you have to go back for later. 32 egg item, like the top, the snake, the kangaroo. You guys were both dealing with those during the game, but I didn't do them till after, so I consider those, due to being like optional and pretty cryptic, deep well. Like, you're getting into it at that point. It's probably gonna be post game for most people, because most people are gonna get the 4 lights and then go to the final area, but you don't have to do it post game. So I've kind of stopped using the term post game due to how much of it really actually is open before you get credits, as Liz is showing us.
Yeah, it really is.
Yay.
You're important for science. Alright, so my thought is, whether you're pre-game or deep well, you're never more than 10 minutes away from something. I thought that I had nothing left to do in this game a few times. Like, I thought that I wasn't going to find anything more on my own until my friends came. But even, like, before you guys started to give me hints from what you played, if I pick this up and I wander around for 10 minutes, I always find something. even now where I'm looking for tiny little eggs in weird places, I always will find one if I wander around for 10 minutes. Like, it's amazing how well that holds up.
Lies.
It's amazing.
Lies. I've been wandering around for 20.
Oh no, God forbid 20 minutes.
It's because I found everything already.
Yeah. But how do you think that holds up during the main game? Like, how often did you genuinely play the game for 10 minutes and not find something?
Oh yeah, no, not at all. I was always finding stuff. That was fully a joke. I just don't find anything now because I found everything.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You have all the eggs and everything.
Oh wait, wait. So what's everyone's? Do you have all of the eggs?
I do have all of the eggs.
I have a healthy 48 now.
Oh, not bad.
I am 47.
Ah, look at us! Hey, wait, and you haven't gotten credits, and yet you're doing these pretty deep well eggs.
Yes.
Yeah, I have. So this is again, you're in the spoiler zone now. I have found 2 bunnies, which is new for this weekend. I didn't used to have any bunnies. The one bunny I knew of felt so out of reach. I have 3 cats, and I have 48 eggs. I also have done the kangaroo and snake metal, which we all have done. I am missing 1 candle.
I am missing 1 candle.
Oh my gosh. It's
tragic.
Yeah, I guess which one you light is arbitrary, but the matches you get, like, this is kind of progression related. Naoto, is there any match that's like especially tricky, like it's hidden behind something kind of deep well, or are they all just like puzzles that we just have to go find like any egg?
I cannot possibly remember, even at gunpoint, where the matches were.
That's kind of a good sign.
That's funny.
That's kind of a good sign because that means that none of them are really crazy.
Yes.
Presumably?
I think so.
I mean, like, there have been some, like, wow, this chest was tough to get to.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if it was a match or an egg in it.
Right, you don't remember it being like, oh, I had to go and, like, mark all of the clown faces hidden on my map and then draw a pentagram between them to get the final match, presumably.
No, I did not need to do that.
So
I solved the puzzle. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it didn't seem that bad. You did the thing we were talking about. That goes into puzzles later, but like I've been amazed that you got 64 eggs and you didn't break your back. Like I know that I guess things are blurring together here a bit. I know that there is at least one puzzle that the community has to come together to solve. It has to do with the fact that everybody has a unique bunny billboard, is what I'll call it, when you're near the duck area. That picture of a bunny that pops up on the wall, that really big bunny, that's unique for every player.
That makes a lot more sense.
Is that right? I guess you're getting to that point now.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
That makes a lot more sense.
How do you feel about that knowledge? Because I know, for example, our friend Robbie didn't want to play the game because they were turned off by this idea of, do you two both know the term ARG?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes,
Augmented reality.
Do you know this?
I think so.
So it's like alternate reality games. So I did a little reading on this. Like there was a popular indie game called Fez where like people had to come together to solve puzzles, and they would involve things like having to go into Google Maps and put in like a certain sequence of numbers from the game and get shown like a weird shed out in New Mexico, and then some player had to go to the shed and there was a puzzle hidden in there. Like, so it's an alternate reality game that uses elements from real life.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up. I've heard the title Fez for I mean, how old is it? For as long as it's been out. That's Fez?
It's in Fez. I don't know how many ARG elements are in there, but they exist. And the game Tunic that came out recently has them. And apparently, this is a spoiler, but apparently deep inside this game, there are references to Fez and Tunic, like specifically those two. So they did take influence.
That's crazy.
Well,
that's crazy.
If those games were the precedent, and this is the most like community engagement puzzle, then I think we got off easy.
That's what I was hoping. I was really hoping you would say that, because when Robbie said they didn't want to play because of ARG elements, I felt bad because I'm like, I have had the meatiest, beefiest Metroidvania single-player experience of my life so far, and I have not had to go to New Mexico. I haven't had anything like that happen, And I thought that the way that they would get us hooked on the ARG element, God, this is so fun hypotheticalizing about it before actually doing it ourselves, and recording this moment in history with the three of us and our experience with the game. I thought that something like 64 eggs would be an impossible task that nobody would get done for like 5 years. Because that's the issue with ARG games is, you know, a tiny group of people who come together on Reddit or Discord or something get to have the greatest experience of their lives because they solved the New Mexico puzzle. Everybody else just has to Google it, and that really sucks.
Yeah.
I think they have a bit of stigma for that, and I really didn't want that to drag down the game. Again, I'm like, how are they going to make me care about this ARG element? I guess Naoto knows now, but I thought that the cats were going to be a community thing. I thought that the eggs were going to be a community thing. You can 100% solve all the cats from so far, from what I've seen, on your own. You can solve...
Absolutely.
Naoto, do you think you can solve every egg on your own?
Yes.
That's incredible. That is I think that has to be... Would you say that most people could give themselves like a 100% completion badge on this game without even cooperating with someone else?
Well, I think it's definitely possible. Yeah, I think it might take you a long time. So, I looked up one egg, and it was just my very last one.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I have one egg left, and I don't have any, obviously unexplored smidges of map that would be in. I will have to go through every single room that I have already been in and scour it for this last egg. Yeah. And that sounds really annoying. Yeah. So I looked up that location just to save me the time.
Yeah.
And the hair.
Because there's so many, I imagine very few people are going to have your experience of not getting spoiled on things if they look up eggs. So I think it's going to be on the community to make guides that aren't very spoilery. And we've talked about, I guess it's tricky, right? Like, sometimes you could use numbers to make it easier to tell which one you have and you don't have. Most people are going to get spoiled by the time they have to look up an egg guide. And there's 64, so you're going to get spoiled on a whole lot of game when you start looking up a guide like that.
Actually, I was able to pinpoint the egg.
Really?
Because you have them all laid out in the peacock room.
Yeah.
Right.
They're all on that stand. Somebody just had a picture of all of them on there, and they mapped it of row and column, so you could be like, I'm missing egg F1.
I love that.
And then you can go to egg F1 location.
That's a great resource. That's a fantastic resource. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible to get all the cats, all 12 items, and all the eggs without doing ARG stuff. How much do you feel, because I know you're not satisfied, and you said that at the moment you don't know what you have to do, but you're starting to think about that damn bunny puzzle thing. Do you think that a lot of people, and it's okay if this is true, it's going to be disappointing for me, but do you think that a lot of people could solve everything like you have done totally on their own, and then get to something that's like an ARG and feel kind of disappointed? Or are they going to be like, yo, I just 100%ed this game?
I mean, I don't even feel disappointed that this bunny puzzle is an ARG. And, it's kind of the least ARG. This is just, go on the Steam community page and swap answers with all of the other players, and then we put it together, and then we have the answer. And then the answer is readily available there. Plus, this is just one puzzle, and it's very easy to collaborate with people online to quickly solve it in the community.
I see.
So, I'm not even upset that this is just going to be I Google what the complete picture is. It's going to be so that's what that was. Okay, neat. I solved literally everything else in this game, so it doesn't matter.
That makes me feel wonderful, because I have been worried that we were going to have to get to the ARG point, again, just to do basic things like bunnies, cats, eggs, but no, it seems like they're all solvable. I'm at the point where I'm starting to find bunny puzzle stuff on my own, so all of this to say, I think that this game is getting a bit of an unfair rep as a cryptic puzzle weirdo game, because you can just sit down and play it as a Metroidvania for ages. And I'm going to make a video about my thoughts here, because I do have something to say about the larger conversation about people treat this game like it's a weird puzzle box. And it is a puzzle box, but it's an incredible puzzle box mapped on top of a remarkably competent Metroidvania. It's not just a cryptic freak, it's like Hollow Knight.
I'm honestly confused by people feeling that it's super cryptic.
Yeah.
Because I've torn my way through this just using Metroidvania strategy.
Yes!
Yeah, exactly.
Straight up, we have a map. we are given multiple tools with which to mark our map, and on our map, it literally shows us when there is gaps in the walls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I just carefully look at the map. I check the black areas that I haven't had on my map yet, and I'm like, how do I get into this room? Oh, look, there is a pixel opening there. Let me go check that out.
Yes.
Like, I have almost the entire map filled in.
Yes.
And I didn't look up anything for it.
That makes me so happy.
I think the internet is just being weird again. Like,
sure.
Yo, it's the
That's funny to
Metroidvania.
me.
Do the Metroid.
I thought y'all liked
motherfucker. Do the Metroid. Ce n'est pas compliqué.
No,
it is compliqué when you're doing it, but like...
Yeah. So people have been calling it a Metroidvania. And I think, fortunately, do you both know the term?
No.
So,
Metroidvania.
I think this is a little bit jumping the shark. I saw a really good video, actually, that agreed with me on the fact that there are Metroidvania elements in this game, but it's mostly a normal Metroidvania. A Metroidvania is, and this is tough because like these games I'm listing are not even close to what I would call Metroidvanias, but the idea is that you solve puzzles or you progress through the game through knowledge unlocks versus item unlocks. So the gates to your progression are things that you've learned. To me, this is just a mystery or a puzzle game, but people talk about Outer Wilds, and I can't really talk through that game very well, but basically, if you go into the game knowing everything, you can just run through everything and all the puzzles, just the same way that you could if you played Animal Well with all the items, or Hollow Knight with all the items. Like, your items are knowledge, so the map opens up for you if you know it. For example, Return of the Obra Dinn, which Nathan just played with their friend in Fukushima, you are on a boat, and just the one of like the really gray, gritty art style, and you're like a pirate ship, and that's all very like but I guess like old painting looking, maybe old drawing looking. You have to solve everybody's cause of death, and it's a mystery game. And people have said that like once you know a few hints about the game, you can fly through everything. So if you got spoiled, then the knowledge you have would make the game totally open. You're no longer progressing from mystery A to mystery B. You can just do everything or just skip right to the end of the game because you know stuff. What is your knee-jerk reaction saying that Animal Well is anything like that?
Do these people know what words mean? I'm sorry, what? You need items to do the thing.
Yeah, you can't do jack shit without items.
No.
Yeah. And you don't even get knowledge, like, having knowledge in advance doesn't help you get the items.
No.
Like, you have to, no.
You have to execute the steps to unlock That's like saying, I know what wings does, so if I just hit the jump button twice, I have wings now in Hollow Knight.
Literally.
Like, no. You have to do the work to go all the way down to Ancient Basin and then beat up Lost Kin or Broken Vessel, and then jump through the multiple hoops to even get there, and then more hoops to get to the wings, and then you run the double jump. It doesn't matter if you know that it's there.
I completely agree. I think it's really...
Like, I remember that this floor is breakable with the top. Therefore, let me just use my psychic powers to summon the top. No, you have to find
Exactly.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't mean to shit too much on the discourse because I'm not that plugged into it. It's just things that I've heard from when the game was super popular. But no, it's ridiculous to me. So basically, the Metroidvania elements are that once you get a frisbee, there is a point where you have to learn you can ride your frisbee. Once you get a bubble, there gets to be a point where you can learn you can link bubbles. Once you get a yo-yo, I think I solved what y'all are talking about with the ball. I think y'all are just telling me that you can use it to break stalagmites in tricky places, right? You guys were being like cryptic.
No.
There's more?
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been as explicit as possible.
Yeah, Naoto was really completely on the nose with
it.
The
way
really
you guys described this made it sound like I could throw it through a gap in the wall and then break things behind the wall.
You can use it to break.
Do you know what breakout
that is? Correct.
Yeah, like you throw it behind a bunch of bricks and then it breaks the bricks and comes back to you.
Yeah, the bricks aren't they
bricks.
neat? bricks that are stylized should be breakout bricks?
Are there breakable bricks that only the ball can break?
There are bricks.
Yes.
There are bricks.
Yeah.
There are bricks.
Yeah. There's bricks.
I'm looking at weird bricks in the ceiling right now. In this, like, guys.
You sure might be. You sure might be.
Guys, you guys have been so direct about this. Let me try throwing. You guys, I think this is just a visual thing. I don't think this is a brick. I have been throwing my ball everywhere every time I've played the game since we talked. Like, for example, in the links room we're talking about, I realized, like, oh no, like, you can't use the yo-yo. You have to use the ball to break stalagmites. I went back to the kangaroo chamber because you told me there was a breakable example in there, and I threw it everywhere. And I'm like, well, this isn't an animal well-paced. Like, I should have found it by now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's
Go back to the kangaroo room and try again.
Oh
That's
my fucking god. I'm so glad that we didn't fully finish this before recording because we can capture the experience that this has been.
Oh my goodness.
I've been noticing that I'm lagging in the egg count, you know? Like, I've done a lot for the eggs that I have. But like, I was topping and, Liz, you've done the snake item, right? You've done the snake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so I've been remoting and topping and balling everything that I go to, and I have not found a.
That's crazy.
LMAO. I have been going to every single thing that I can and throwing the ball at it until I figure out. I threw the ball at everything in the kangaroo area.
It is unfairly precise, actually, I would say.
Oh, I guess the game is actually shit, and we shouldn't even have recorded this. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I mean, the game zero.
Not
zero
takeaway.
So to talk, I guess, a bit more about progression before we get back to the items. So these are deep well items, right? So there's the flame items that you need to beat the game, and they're the ones that you get in every area to get the flame. Frisbee for the dog, yo-yo for the bird area, bubble for the seahorse, and slinky for the lizard. And then when you look at your menu, one of the funniest things about this game is that it presents itself as if there's only 8 items, but then there's a secret 12th row. And Naoto, can you tell us that there is no 4th row to any convincing level?
As far as I am aware, there is no 4th row. I cannot fathom where the contents of such a 4th row would be hidden when most of my map is filled.
Yes,
and by most, I mean 98%.
That is a good thing to know. If there is a 4th row, I hope it's 4 different types of party poppers that we get for doing the ARG.
Yes!
I love that.
I couldn't handle anything else at this point. I do feel like I'm at the point where I'm like, no. Like, my brain keeps expanding, but it can't expand anymore. I can't expand anymore.
I think I do have to add with my deep knowledge here about people like getting stumped on puzzles and being like, "Brr, this is impassable." So you can unlock something that makes it gives you some little pointers like people got this thing, right? People did this. They must have. Other people must have done it, right? Y'all listening, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't, and you should go play the game more.
This is item 12.
This is item 12.
I figured it, yeah. Item 12 seems to have a very broad function.
What?
Yeah, item 12.
I'm in the dark.
Item 11 is the links item.
Love that
item
feeling,
12 is the candle item. And it's true that I think we could have this by now. We just haven't found the match that we need.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like straight up.
Honestly,
yeah.
See, this is one of the points where, like, you know all of the steps that you need, and you're just like, it's doubling back. This would be a point where I'd be like, if you wanted to look that up, that's pretty much fair play.
Interesting.
Because you guys have probably seen the room with the candle before, and you have almost certainly been in the room with the match chest before, and now it's just, I could run around here for eternity until I find it, or I could be less annoyed.
I'm not quite at the point of looking it up, but I have thought about it, because it's like, what is the fun left in finding this one match? You know, I think one, maybe thing with the game is, you're mostly going to be doing, there is something there's something that would be a straight up spoiler to Liz. It's not a very substantial spoiler, but I did find it since last time we talked, and it does kind of play into this. But I was gonna say, like, you can do if you're playing this game and you're learning as you go, you're gonna be picking up eggs as you go. You're gonna be picking up hints for later as you go. You're gonna get so much done every time you go to any place that I feel like it's easy to pick up everything. But it's true that like some things like eggs and matches are probably gonna fall through the cracks, right? So I don't think looking up a guide is like taboo, but I'm just saying, like, you know, everybody tells you like, oh my god, go into this game knowing nothing. But I think the ultimate experience is getting a couple people to go in together knowing nothing. Liz, are you okay with me spoiling this? Like, it doesn't have a huge bearing on anything. It's kind of like its own self-contained system, and it's very interesting in terms of progression.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
So there is a pedometer, and Amber told me this,
what?
and it's actually extremely funny and cute, and I would have to, like, put myself on a spear if I spoiled how cute the pedometer is to you. I don't want to give any hints. It's extremely charming, and
I'm really glad you found it.
Very curiously, I showed up right around step 39,900, and then I got into the pedometer. And inside the pedometer, I moved a bit more, and I got to 40,000, and I noticed that something moved. And I was curious why I was being blocked from one item that exists inside the world of the pedometer. This sounds so much more cryptic than it really is. But I realized, like, I was very fortunate that I was in it as it moved. And that made me realize, like, holy shit, was he planning for how long it would even take? Like, was he planning how much we'd have to redo the map? Like, was he picturing the amount of time that we would have to retrace our steps? Because, like, with Momodora 2, when I talked about it, I was like, yeah, I've done this map about 6 times. And it's like, I'm conscious of how many times I've backtracked. That's interesting. Was he aware that we would all take about 50,000 steps? Like, that's crazy. Did he really make this to be solved in around 50,000 steps and then put an item behind the 50,000 step mark? Because that's
crazy.
Right? That's a whole other
thing. I only have 19,000 steps right now.
What? There is something.
How do you have 20,000 less steps? Hang on. How do you have all of the eggs and all 12 items and you have 20,000 less steps?
That right there is a mark of the detective prince.
Oh my god.
I honestly think that you've just done more loops than me.
Sorry?
You've probably just done more full loops than me.
Oh, I have. I've played this game for a while. I'm not picking up on things as fast as you are. But I'm still learning, and I don't feel like I'm tired of the map yet at 40,000 steps. It's just insane that we can even measure this fucking game in anything resembling loops. Like, it's so big and labyrinthian. Imagine if Hollow Knight, like, yeah, every player's gonna clear the map around 6 times. Like, no, how could you possibly measure that?
Mm-hmm.
So, to get a bit of structure back on things, this has all basically been the progression section, right? Some people are going to be like, boo, this was 50 minutes of talking about puzzles. But, basically the flow is that it's incredible how well things link into each other, and there's flame items and stuff. Let's do a quick rundown of just some flame stuff, right? Because that's the pregame. So getting your flames involves 4 bosses. Let's rank our favorite bosses. And also, I think the bosses might be a good time to talk about the frustration element of this game, because I would put 2.5 out of 4 of the bosses in the kind of mandatory piss you off content of the game.
Fuck that lizard. Fuck that lizard.
Yeah, that lizard is... That's the one I was talking about that has a save point, like, literally the room before.
That was bad.
Like, wow. If I was in a foul mood, this lizard would send me into rage.
Yeah, it took me a dedicated
I can grind it, but yeah.
Oh my god.
I ended up, like, it was good. It was fine. But, oh my god, it was a lot of, like, I think this isn't a criticism, but it is, I always struggle with games that will give you one set of like expectations for yourself, and then almost kind of out of nowhere they will have you they'll ramp up the punishment.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you have to do that fight, you have to do 5 things right in a row, and if you mess up at all you instantly lose. Like, you have your 4 health bars, but they don't really matter in that fight. It's very interesting to me.
I would say that is my main criticism of the game. I just do not understand why we get thrown into segments that will either smush you for hesitating or kill you just for screwing up. Like, I think it's weird, and it kind of breaks the pacing.
Yes. Honestly, the way that I used our health to help me dodge the insta-kills in the wizard fight.
Oh, right.
Like, I would tank a hit from the hedgehogs to get out of the way.
I did similar stuff at some point. Okay. I had to balance strategies. There were some times where I would just tank hedgehog hits, sometimes where I would just try to do perfect jumping. It took me a long fucking time.
Yeah, that must have... I think I probably had like 15 tries on that one.
Yeah, I think that's a good number. 15 or 18.
Mm-hmm. Same.
The bird was fine for you both, right? The bird didn't seem that crazy.
Which bird?
The
ostrich in its cage. The one you have to...
Oh my god, the ostrich was so funny.
Yeah.
That one was awesome. That was fantastic.
I wouldn't say... I didn't, enjoy it a ton. I think the thing is, I also used linked bubbles, but Liz, you said that you found a secret passage out of there?
Yes.
That sounds a lot better than what I did, because I was like, this kind of sucks. I was just, hopping onto my bubbles and linking them.
Your bubble linking, I actually have to watch you play for a couple... Probably after we do this, I'll ask you to stream for 5 seconds just so I can see what bubble linking looks like, because I just haven't gotten it.
I also need to see what that looks like.
Okay, I mean, you've done some tough bubble jumps if you've gotten the bunny that I'm thinking of, Naoto. Actually, earlier when I was talking about puzzles that'll always annoy you, I'm talking about the long-legged birds in the seahorse area, because they're beautiful, and they're right there, but in order to get out there, you have to do a long amount of bubble jumps, followed by a straight-up bubble jump gauntlet to get the bunny.
Yeah, that was so hard.
Yeah?
Why the tone of voice?
You're so right. The bubble, only one bubble at a time. So hard.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What?
Oh my god, you had me thinking a different... Oh my god, you had me think... Fuck this game. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. Oh my god, that changes so much.
No way.
Dude.
Oh, that's so considerate of them. Oh my god.
I think I'm just gonna have to tell you where to go, because the fact that you haven't found this is killing me inside.
Well, I'll tell you, it's optional, because I'm a pro gamer, and I'm gonna show y'all that I'm a pro gamer later.
Please don't suffer.
So I will tell you guys.
You need this room. You need to get this room.
Okay, yes, I suppose we do. And because honestly, at this point, I've had my fun. I'm willing to take something like that and then just see if it can get me the rest of the way. No, I will tell you guys. I was telling Nathan with Castlevania that I like axe armors because Nathan is kind of freaked out and jumped over them because it's their first time fighting them. Axe armors are a classic enemy where they will signal to you that they're either going to throw their axe directly at your head or they're going to underhand it and throw it underneath you. And it's this very slow thing. It moves forward very slowly and then it comes back very slowly. It's 100% repetitive. It is 100% a challenge to just calm down and you literally either whip the up one or you duck. It's extremely simple. Just like a lot of Castlevania, it's extremely simple, but you calm yourself down. I think bubble jumping is very, very similar because you literally just press jump at the same time that you press bubble. And you have to move a little bit to get on the next bubble, but they timed it such there's no thinking. You literally just press jump and bubble at the same time, and then you lean forward a little bit to land on the bubble. It's very overwhelming looking, and it feels stressful to be off the ground, but it's literally just staying calm and doing it over the whole thing. I deserve a medal for doing the ostrich segment without this.
Yeah. Holy shit. Oh, I got it.
Yeah, so that's
just one of that explanation.
That's one of the Metroidvania things, is once you learn you can do that. I mean, I thought they kind of forced you to do it as soon as you got the item, but maybe that was just me messing around.
No, they don't. They absolutely don't.
It's only required for a couple things, but it does let you skip a good amount, and a lot of people do get bubble first, so I can see why.
This changes everything. This changes everything.
So I always had this...
Don't get too committed. Don't get too committed to this bubble linking method. I'm gonna let you in on the knowledge too as soon as you get to the place where it is.
Oh my God. So I never had a problem with this really. It's like, it can be tough for sure, especially if you do it in segments where there's an optional later game easier way to do it apparently. But if you do know this, then you can skip plenty of stuff. But it makes me happy that you both beat the game without doing this, because I frequently, without thinking, would just use it to skip a puzzle here and there. So there is that Metroidvania element, but it's not that significant. I mean, it didn't change the order of anything, that's for sure. It's just like, no, fuck it, I'm going up to that platform. Like, very minor stuff. I mean, like, they did a lot of work.
Literally, this is straight up infinite jumping now.
Oh yeah, it's infinite jumping.
What the heck?
I've had infinite jumping the whole time.
Oh my god.
I've been sitting here with the regular infinite jumping item.
No, so I guess that is a fair play Metroidvania thing, because if you have that, you are only limited by vines and yellow birds. I guess maybe you guys aren't as acquainted with the yellow birds.
The hummingbirds.
Yeah, the hummingbirds hate these things. The hummingbirds are in place to keep you from skipping stuff, so you can't use it for a sequence break, which really limits the Metroidvania magic. But no, anytime where there's not a bubble of a vine or a bubble popping bird, you can skip a couple things with this, and I have it on hot command. Yeah,
dude, you tell me how to bubble jump. I've been bubble jumping for maybe 2 minutes now. I mean, we'll be able to see on the timestamps literally how quickly I'm in a new room. I'm in a new room right now.
Gosh.
This is silly. This is a silly game. This is a silly game.
LMAO. I mean, yeah.
Excellent.
So progression is kind of a funny topic in this way, because there is the Metroidvania thing, I guess, in a way, and I'm not aware enough of what I've been doing that is and isn't bubble jump related. But as Amber told us, these bubble jumps can be either a skill thing early on, or learning that you can link bubbles, or there's a way to make it easier later, which it seems pretty easy to understand. I see what you're saying now, and that's a wonderful thing for progression.
Means that bubble linking, that gets you to deep well content. Like, you in no way need it for regular stuff, and anything that you get using it pre-game is like extra bonus that you don't have to grab later.
I see, but can you picture anything where you have to have this bubble wand upgrade instead of just using this bubble link that I'm talking about? I can't picture it.
From what you were describing of the bubble link? Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it is. So I think in that way, I could see people feeling like they've broken the game that way, but I've been monitoring it for this entire experience, and they have a pretty good grasp on it. I never once did anything that felt like a sequence break.
Yeah, like I just mean that if you can't get good enough for bubble linking or whatever internet term there is nowadays to insult people.
I mean, it's an accessibility thing too. Like, it is tricky. I recognize that that's one of the trickier things, but it's not mandatory the way that I thought it was.
Like, I quickly gave up on even trying it because I was like, too hard.
It's such good news that this isn't mandatory. That really makes the game so much more accessible. Holy shit. So now, okay, a little bit more on bosses. It's hilarious that you guys both see the animal that comes out of the dog statue with a frisbee in its mouth and then chases you panting to get its frisbee back as a cat. You're not alone. It's actually very divisive, but I am just like, how did they make this dog such a cat?
It's the shape of the head and ears to me. I don't know how to explain it.
Yes.
My gosh. We've been talking about how there's almost no ambiguous animals, but the lynx babies look like bunnies because they have a bobbed tail and ears. So I was like, what the fuck? These bunnies are meowing
and meow like cats.
Yeah, they do.
Me crazy.
So I felt super creeped out. I'm like, why is this game so ambiguous about these animals? And then there's also a dog statue that I found outside of the dog area. It kind of looks like Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas, where he has kind of long ears and he's jumping in a way that makes him look kind of ghosty. And I'm like, this looks like a cat, a dog, and a bunny. And I was just like, why are the dogs and cats and bunnies so ambiguous when absolutely nothing else is? But it seems like now they just chose Lynx kittens to be the cats in cages. The dog, I don't know why I guess it has a cat face, but I've been saying, now that I've gotten a taste for bunny puzzles, 100% solvable on your own, by the way, so far. They're just kind of deep well. I genuinely wonder if I were to lead the wolf over to this random dog statue in the green area? Like, would I get a bunny? Like, it's probably not that, but I'm like, why is there a dog statue out here? Like, there are plenty of them in the dog area, so now I realize that it's a dog, but it's a weird little statue.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask you for that room position later.
Yeah, I
So
think
I
you
can
check.
check. Yes.
When I was leading because I actually, the frisbee was one of the first items I got. I started that, but then that was one of the last flames that I got, I think. Like, I went back. I hadn't finished. When I went back to play, I had never finished because I didn't realize, I was hoping that you wouldn't have to, but I didn't realize that there was actually that sequence where you had to move the fake disc.
Oh yeah.
Right next
That
to the
was
flame.
so scary.
It was the most stressful. It was probably the most stressful part of the whole game for me so far.
Gotta be.
It was so tense. It was so, you didn't have to be perfect because it doesn't. Thankfully, it doesn't insta kill you. You have health, and they actually are pretty liberal. The path that I think all three of us took, they put fruits all throughout there.
Oh yeah.
They're very intentional with that. They don't want you to get. They don't want you to get frustrated. Really, they just want you to be scared. And the way that you lose is if you get freaked out enough to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. But so I hadn't done that, and that's the part that I keep dreading is, oh my god, what if there are more puzzles where we need the fake disc? I don't want to do it again.
I will do it,
but I
for
did
everybody.
notice. Yeah, no, I want to do it too, for sure.
It's probably
it's
not
so
real.
Cool. Probably not. I know, we'll fuck around for like 10 hours. Like, I let him everywhere.
Oh my god, no, that would destroy the game for me. I took the dog on a walk through the entire map, and I didn't even get a t-shirt.
Well, so you saw that, did you see that, so those statues that you're talking about with the dog that's sort of like jumping, it almost looks like Zero. When the big ghost dog touches the little statues,
they turn into dogs.
You know that it, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude, no, we have to try this.
We gotta try it.
Dude, we gotta bring the dog to the green area. I hate that I decided this.
Oh, man.
I forgot that. Why on earth?
No.
Because y'all can't think of any other... I forgot that they are ghost dogs. They are ghost dogs.
Yeah, they are.
I totally forgot. It's been so long. No, as soon as I did the first mock disc, they did a really good job of making it feel like, oh my god, this is so scary. Like, that's one of the most impactful moments of the game, is the dog. That's a visionary thing. That's one of my favorite horror things in any game. It's so fun. They have it hanging over your head, like, please don't make the final flame be guiding him a long way. And then you adventure through a whole thing. You get to the flame thing, and it's like, disc call. And you know immediately, the feeling of dread that sets in is so good.
I was like, maybe I can put my actual frisbee. Maybe I'm giving up the frisbee.
Yeah.
For at least a little while. Like, oh, maybe I have to do the boss without the frisbee or something. That's fine. Who cares? No, that's not what they want you to do.
No, they don't. That's not it. I will say, I like what you said about, like, you know, the fruit, and they just want you, like, not to lose your nerve. I will say, if I fell, I was probably just gonna get pounded by the dog until I died. I probably didn't have more than, like, 2 or maybe 3 chances to screw up when I did it, so I would say that even the best route, where you've decided not to just wander miserably through the entire dog area, even the best route where you use the warp whistle has 2 really tough jumps, right? So I feel like that's another very difficult segment. Like, I think this game really can be very stingy out of nowhere.
I will also die on the hill that's a cat. The tail is way too long, okay?
Oh my god, that's gonna be... it's so creepy! The idea of it not being a dog is so creepy.
Now, cat and seed.
Yeah.
The cat and seed.
The cat and the seed theory. I mean, hey, we brought your cunning intellect here for a reason. So I think that's enough talk about progression, because it's been hard not to veer off topic, right? Now that we're at an hour and a half of content, let's just get right down to it and talk about the puzzles. God. Let's just talk about the puzzles straight up. I mean, at this point, we've brought out a lot of the most interesting ones already, but let's just talk about... Let's just talk about the puzzles. So my first thing is, when we got into this, and I was like, I want my friends to be here to work on these puzzles with me, because I was noticing stuff. Like, I was noticing the code on the pillars, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, this can't be something, right? And then it is something. And I remember the cats being kind of a cryptic thing in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first day, me and Naoto, before Liz got playing, were like, okay, I'm gonna draw you everything I can remember. I was at my desk in the office. I was like, I'm gonna draw you all of the little dots that I can remember, and send them to you, because you noticed that the cats had a symbol on their cage that maps onto the symbol from the moving blocks, which is something that only you could notice. I never noticed that.
Wait. So I actually had a question.
Yeah.
Does that actually correlate? Does that correlate in any way?
So we thought that it was, and it was so
symbols,
fun.
no.
I don't think they do.
Okay. That's
It's actually a lot simpler than we thought.
Because obviously we all three. I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, so I thought that it was a super crazy thing, and I remember kind of seeing conversation online that was like, we gotta free these cats, like music theory versus other thing theory, and when you were like, I want to free these cats, they sound so sad, I'm like, I have bad news, I don't even know if the animal community has freed these cats, but it's literally as simple as going around and finding the songs on the walls. Like, it's actually not very difficult. But that moment where we had to work together, it's like look at like a code system to superimpose onto another code system, where I thought that the 3 dots down and 3 dots up were like an up and down arrow. I thought that the 6 was like an equal sign. That moment was so fun, and I was like, this is crazy. And then in a couple hours you were like, I solved the cats. Like, what do you mean you solved the cats?
That was crazy. That was so crazy.
That was such a constant feeling.
I still think that my favorite instance of I solved this thing was saying I solved the duck.
Yes! Oh my god, yeah. I'm gonna start throwing up
idea
funny quotes from this memory, but you were like,
so
are you guys
funny.
suspicious? We were talking about something, and you were like, what do you think about the duck? I'm like, what should I be thinking about the duck? Like,
And I was
I'm
like, I
not
don't know, he seems
suspicious
kind of
of the
sus.
duck.
He's just vibing here.
I'm not suspicious of the duck. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I forgot. During progression, I wanted to ask what your favorite areas of the map are, because now I'm going to ask, what are your favorite animals in this game? Because that relates to puzzles.
Oh. Wow.
I think my favorite area is probably just the beginning. I've been gushing about it this whole time. It's beautiful. It teaches you so much. I love coming back. I love our flower pot. I love the candle room. I love the statues of us, which again implies that we're some kind of animal. It's just like, what?
I like the glow in the dark room.
Understandable.
With the glowy worm. Yeah, that's absolutely my favorite.
That's like my second favorite.
Yeah.
I think
figured
my favorite is actually the 12th item area.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, the area where item 12 is.
That is a hell of an endorsement.
Wait, so does that imply that item 12 is an area that you can't normally get to?
Correct.
Without... Interesting. Okay. I was like, wow, that's a really weird roundabout way to...
Because remember, I've already told you that the candles unlock another disc.
Yeah.
Or
thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh my god.
Wow. This is crazy. This game's insane.
This game is completely nuts. So then what is your favorite animal?
The duck is a good boy.
The duck is very good. I guess I have to say the caterpillars. Maybe that's a bit of a cop-out because they're so obviously
the little
good.
wormies.
Yeah, they're so good.
I like the wormies.
If not them, the bunnies are really, really beautiful.
Wait, where are their caterpillars?
The glowworms and down in the
little
worm
glowy wormies.
Oh, those little guys.
I'm a low-key fan of the starfish in the background of the seahorse area. They're weird. They follow you in the background.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like the starfish. I like the birds that carry you.
Oh, those are wonderful!
Yes,
I like those
birds.
guys quite a lot.
They do a lot for the game.
I like the trick with the light that you do with them. Like I like once you figure that out, that's crazy. I think. Oh my goodness,
those are ambiguous creatures, aren't they? Those are probably our closest relatives.
I think you're right. I like
Holy shit.
Oh, what are they called? There's a lot of animals that just are in the background that just stare at you.
Yeah, the monkeys are so wild.
God, I was literally thinking of the monkeys.
The damn monkeys. The ones just throwing shit at you.
Yeah. I like the capybaras.
Yeah, the capybaras are definitely probably fan favorites.
They're quite nice.
I love the capybaras.
I have a love-hate relationship with the hedgehogs. The penguins.
Yeah. The hedgehogs, the penguins.
I gotta throw
my
out
friend.
some support for the chinchillas.
Oh, the chinchillas are quite
Oh,
nice. Yeah.
you're so right. You're very right, actually.
Little
That feels
portable
bad that I
platform
missed them.
chinchillas.
They're very doofy.
I'm very fond of. We never confirmed this with each other, so I won't say what it is. But my friend that I found with the top.
Is it in one of our favorite rooms featuring one of our favorite animals?
Yes, it is.
3, 2,
Yes,
1. Let's
it
all
is.
say it. 3, 2, 1. The little toad
Frog?
that loves the
Yay!
dark.
Oh my
I was just gonna
gosh.
say frog.
Yeah.
One word.
That made me explode with joy.
Yeah. That was absolutely.
Yes.
I didn't know any of you guys
You're in
found
the
that. I
back.
thought that I found it on my own, and I'm like, guys, I just found somebody to talk to.
It was funny because I think you found that after I did, but maybe I didn't say anything for some reason.
Probably.
But that's really funny. No, my little frog friend.
So if you play
Yes.
if you play your instrument, because that's kind of my gut is to bring music and joy and calmness and tranquility to anywhere I go in this area in this game. Because I find that's one of my biggest damn things about this game is the flute. It makes me pissed that people like don't understand how, it makes me sad that this isn't on the cover of the game. Like, I understand like the wonder of discovering it's amazing, but it's like it's that meme where you're like at a party and it's like they don't even know that you have a little flute that you can play to make the animals happy and bring a sense of calm and tranquility and self-expression into this horror game.
That is true.
Like anywhere I go, I like to play it because it makes everything feel more grounded and happy. And if you play it for him, he just starts jumping, and you can technically use him to get an egg if you haven't got that egg yet.
I need to go check that because
not that
I
crazy.
never did that. I just did the little dialogue where he says, "I enjoy it here in the dark."
Yes!
That's what I have.
That is
I
the
love
only
him. I love
dialogue
him
we
so
have
much.
so far.
Yeah. No,
He's
absolutely.
so good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess,
Fantastic.
if we're in the puzzle mystery section, it's worth asking. Who are we calling on the phone?
Oh my god.
That is a very good
Ness's
question.
dad.
It's not Ness's dad.
It's Ness's dad.
Like, we're,
Alas, it cannot be Ness's dad.
No, like, what are we even? Yeah, because there's no dialogue for that, right? It's just saving our.
it's like, would you
It
like
says
to save?
hello.
Yeah,
Hello, would you like to save your
That's
game?
right.
It says hello?
That's right.
Is it really?
I'm gonna go walk over to one right now.
Yeah, me too. Hello, would you like to save your game? Yeah, hello, would you like to save your progress?
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't friggin' know. We can't actually talk about this. I do not want to spoil this, but I think we might learn once we open up a door that neither me or Naoto have opened to, that you don't know about existing, but I refuse to spoil you on this location. This is the post-game location.
Oh, yes.
It's a very,
That.
very nice one. I can see it being
Yeah.
some people's favorite too. Holy crap. So yeah, what do I have for notes for puzzles and stuff? I mean, we actually accidentally sprinkled discussion of puzzles throughout the whole thing, right? I think the cats have been one of the most interesting ones, and they've been everywhere. Yeah, this changes everything. We've talked about that. The idea of deep well, we've talked about. Solving the
think-
dock.
What
The
hell does that
duck.
mean?
Yeah.
I love that I solved the duck. I think another good thing to highlight with puzzles and puzzle difficulty is that there are multiple ways to there are multiple aids for you that you unlock. Like the remote will highlight chests. And item 12 does things.
Yeah, I've picked up on that.
So
Item 12 does things.
Yes.
item 12 does in fact do things.
Yes.
And in that way, a lot of the puzzles are allowed to move very smoothly. If you've gotten stuck on them, then you have an additional aid to check things out with.
That's so nice.
This
That's
room
so nice.
always bothered. Let me remote literally everything. Oh, so a wall just exploded.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god, yeah.
That
That's
clip
insane.
is insane.
That happened twice. I found another one.
Another thing that exploded. It's such a good gimmick. You
Yes.
might as well use it. Oh my god. That's why I do use the remote very frequently.
Because you're encouraged to use the remote in just about every room to look for chests once you figure that out as a usage. So then it's normal. for you to just spam it everywhere and then something explodes.
Yeah.
Like, there's no choreographing that you need to do that to make something explode, but there's enough build up in other places that have encouraged you to use the remote in just about every place.
Yes. And I will say, we talked about this before, there are markings on the ground for tops, and I guess there's marking on the walls for balls, but I don't know.
I haven't found the top floor markings. I've never noticed.
It's very subtle.
You've mentioned it, but I haven't.
I don't think it's that subtle. Once you notice it, if it's on the right type of dirt, it's usually actually really... Like, I can notice it as soon as I walk into a room now.
Oh, the pro gamer over here.
Well, I mean, it's just like every little wall.
Totally do follow you. I'm looking at the starfish.
Yeah, they're spooky. I was hoping that there was like a starfish medal or something.
I quite love them.
That's lovely. So yeah, Liz, are there any more items you want to talk about while we're talking about solving puzzles?
No
yo-yo
so I'm
discussion
missing the
today.
2 items. Oh my god, I freaking love the yo-yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the yo-yo.
I'm so glad that I got yo-yo first, solely because then I was like, this game has a yo-yo?
Yeah.
This is the best game!
Yeah.
I haven't had a yo-yo in a game since Earthbound.
Yeah, right. It's so good. It's so well made.
Well, the destructive use is incredible, and then obviously I had gotten you guys my clip of bouncing out of the water. I've tried to recreate that. I don't know what happened.
I'll edit that in. I think I can edit that in. We called it the salty splash. I think it's a bug.
Funny, the salty splash. I think it was a bug. I think it was a physics thing. But then whenever, I don't remember which room teaches you this, but that you find out you can use it to hypnotize the chinchillas to control them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a very good second
versatility.
use.
I don't know. Like it's crazy. What a game. Finding out you can ride the frisbee.
Yeah.
Finding out you can use the yo-yo to hypnotize the chinchillas.
The slinky. It's like, oh, I guess I can drop it in the water sometimes. I guess it goes through platforms, but that's kind of a given.
Yeah, exactly.
will
It's
also
very much for a
describe things.
specific puzzle problem.
But that might be a contender for least exciting item. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
what do you guys think about this? So people are also shy about this game because it's puzzles versus combat, right? So like you're not fighting enemies, you're doing puzzles. My feeling is that I feel like the puzzle solving in this game is really, really active. I feel like you're always moving and doing stuff. The slinky is probably the most slow-paced one where you have to wait and like line up various things. But like breaking stuff with your yo-yo, riding over stuff with your frisbee, maybe timing a switch with your frisbee, I feel like it's not the kind of speed you would expect from a puzzle game. So like, what do you guys think about how similar and how different is a game like this where you use items to solve puzzles to using your items to fight an enemy? Like, do you feel like this is a much slower game because of it?
Well, obviously we blasted through it.
Yeah.
So,
I think
no,
that
I guess not.
it would be best described as a puzzle platformer rather than a like puzzle combat type, like Zelda. Like Zelda, you unlock to be your new enemy.
Right.
And like you unlock the bow in the Great Deku Tree, so you can shoot Goma.
Right.
And then, of course, it also has a bunch of other uses in like little environment puzzles. But the puzzle solving here is using your new items to enhance your platforming skills.
Yeah.
To then platform to puzzle victory.
Yes, but I think because you also break stuff, I feel like it's not that dissimilar to an action-adventure game. It becomes, so basically, in terms of like in one room, the speed with which you get through the room, does this game feel much slower pace in the second-to-second action than Zelda, for example?
I wouldn't say so, no.
I think it's less steady. I think Zelda's very steady.
Steadiness is a good point.
Yeah, like Zelda, you really are pretty consistently moving through. There's not a lot of moments where you stop frankly, and I mean, this is also partly since 3D started. I don't think there's a lot of moments where you stop in a room in Zelda to look at all of the information to try to figure out what's going on.
Stopping and looking at information. Nice.
Yeah, like I don't think there's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So
Okay,
I guess that's where I would sit with that.
My brain is only coming up with Ocarina for a Zelda reference, and I'm like,
but what about 2D?
Yeah, this game is way better paced. As I'm thinking about Link going, yeah, as you roll across Hyrule fields.
Yes, in terms of like backtracking, it's much more engaging.
Yeah, I'm not being fair to the franchise as a whole, but only thinking of Ocarina of Time and all of the reasons why I think Ocarina of Time is overrated, but...
Wow.
Okay,
did you know Ocarina of Time is overrated?
No. Well, how about this? What do you think about the pace of this game?
That's my take, not a Metroidvania take.
What do you think about the pace of this game compared to Link's Awakening or Link Between Worlds?
Ooh.
The second-to-second pacing in terms of stopping and taking in rooms.
A Link Between Worlds is faster.
Yes.
Less mentally challenging. I mean, far less challenging in general. It's very easy. I love it. Like, again, it's probably it's one of my favorites. I think we're all on the same page with that. It's one of our favorites.
Yes.
But
I think it's one of the easiest Zelda games ever, and it's best for it.
I see. The difficulty obviously slows down Animal Well. That's also true. No, it definitely is slower than something like a 2D Zelda. I think 2D Zelda or Metroid is what it's probably most similar to. But I have to play more puzzle platformers, so I really like analyze comparing it to things outside of its genre in terms of pace. My thought is just I feel like these items are so active and like you get through a lot of things so quickly. Where it's like you just kind of scoot through a room, then you break a stalagmite to go to a new area. You take a second to look around. It's like, oop, no, I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna use the yo-yo to get through that. Like it has a much quicker pace than it sounds like it would when people tell you that every room has a puzzle to solve. It sounds like it'd be a slog. It sounds like you're constantly stopping, but like only certain areas do rely on puzzles that require stopping and thinking. Like it's a pretty kinetic game.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's just my feeling on that.
I concur.
All right, I would say I am out of stuff now. If you guys have any more things you want to say for either puzzles or closing. Because we've talked about everything we know.
Well, you talked about everything.
Two of us know.
I have to pout over here knowing the extra secrets.
Oh, maybe I'll have to catch up to you.
I'm playing. I'm hooked again. That's what I guess my closing thought would be like talking about the game makes me want to play the game more, which is not something you can say of every game, I don't think.
No. It's again, I feel like I have such a desire to play it in my head because talking about it's so exciting. And sometimes I finally get time to play it and it's like, do I really want to play this right now? And I get to a point where I feel like I'm going to get tired of the game and I should put it down. But then I do one more room and the experience is just so varied. You know, I find a new animal, I find a new color, I find a new whole fucking concept of items. Or even just find an egg in a new place and it's just shocking how it keeps itself fresh.
Yeah. It really does keep driving you.
All right, well, I won't keep driving us any longer because we made a video that's almost 2 hours long. This take alone was 1 hour and 13 minutes, so we have done good.
Oh my goodness.
If you guys want to say goodbye, it was lovely to have you here. I might do more co-op Metroidvania Musings because it's a wonderful way to get thoughts out there.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to keep working on Animal Well. By the time this gets published, maybe we'll have solved everything and we'll all be satiated but not satisfied at the ending and going to join the Animal Well community. We still have time. We might still have time to solve a couple of crazy puzzles, you know? I don't know. But it's been wonderful solving the base game.
I'm at a point where I can put the game down, but I'm just waiting for you two to catch up to get your thoughts.
Let's see if we can help you before we have to turn to Reddit.
I want to chat with these two about it.
I just had a thought. So there was that room a while back obviously the last time I played, there was that one room towards the top of the map.
I haven't found that room.
And I just realized, I'm like, oh my god, I thought there was a time where all three of us talked about it and we're kind of trying to work on it. You didn't know about the bouncy ball.
No.
So you have no idea.
I think I'm gonna go find the bouncy ball block after this.
Please do. Wonderful. Okay.
I solved that room.
If I didn't have to go do like adult things after this and like print out documents and be nervous about the DMV tomorrow, I would probably be playing Animal Well a copious amount.
Copious.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
Just about ready to be done. I think we're good.
I think so.
All right, well, see you, everybody. Get your friends together. I mean, we've now spoiled everything. Sorry. Let's do a non-spoiler ending. One last thought. Just talk to people who might want to do this game with their friends or people who are debating how to play it. How would you both pitch, in a couple sentences, your ideal way to experience this game? Start with Naoto.
Hey, kid, you like puzzles? You like platforming? You like running around the map and digging into things and looking at anything that's suspicious and then coming back when you got a better item? Plan well. Go on. You might be a seed, you might be a meatball.
Maybe you're a seed meatball.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's right.
How about Liz?
Well, if you are at the end of this video, if you've jumped here and you aren't spoiled, go into it blind as you can. That would be my... I think it's so fun. I don't know. I just think it's neat.
Understandable. Have a nice day. Yeah, it's so...
Understandable. Have a nice day.
It's so neat. Yeah, I would say you can do so much of this game not only without an ARG, like not only without using Discord or Reddit or whatever. Like, you may have heard about ARGs. They're not a significant part of this game till you're so far into the deep well content. You can do so many satisfying things. There are whole systems of puzzles you can solve on your own. However, it is tough, and it is it's not just good to have a friend you could bounce ideas off of before going to look up a guide, but it's really fun to solve things together and have no idea. So I would say, going blind, sure, I think that's fine. It's definitely going to be more fun. But I would say, be ready to have a big, dark wonderland to explore alone. And if you want to invite a few people in and agree not to let any light in by looking up guides, that is an incredibly magical time. That is my thought.
I love that thought.
Thank you. What? All right, no more thoughts. We're done. We gotta go do stuff. No. So thank you for listening.
No more thoughts.
Never. I'm done.
I'm done thinking.
All right. I'll see you sorry, not chat. See you viewers. See you people in the future. See you later. Thank you for watching this ridiculously long video if you did. If you didn't, then maybe you skipped here to play Animal Well, and I will say, go play Animal Well. All right, we finished there.